So in the last tutorial, we looked at adding in a couple of functions here dealing with SKActions. Well, there's a lot of SKActions, for example. All right, and just to show you what kind of different SKActions here, and some of the actions that I really like to use here, for example, is we could set the player action, and we can set, let's say, rotate. And we'll make that equal to SKAction dot rotate, and you can see that there's rotate by angle, rotate to angle, and then rotate to angle ns time interval, and then shortest unit here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to say rotate by angle. All right, and we'll use the radians of, well, let's just say 10 for the moment, and the duration will be 0.5. Now, what we can do is, instead of adding fade out, we can add in rotate. Okay, and there we go, and we're not using fade out anymore. So let's take a look at this here. So this is in player action, so I click it, and then you can see that it starts running. Okay, and that's actually kind of neat. So you can see that there's different kinds of rotation here. So SKAction dot, we can say rotate to angle. Okay, and this rotate to angle is going to be different here. It's going to rotate to the angle of, let's just say something like 243 of the n is time interval 1.0. Okay, and now rotate's different. Okay, so watch this. Okay, so we click it, and there we go, rotates it, and there we go. So now we have two items in our sequence. How many items can we put in there? Well, we can put wait again, okay, and we could put rotate, and then we could put wait again, and then fade out. So this is kind of neat. Let's take a look at this. So it's going to run the series that you tell it to do. Okay, so move up here, and we click it. So it rotates, waits, rotates again, but in this case, it rotated to the angle. So instead, what we'll do is we'll say rotate by angle, and we'll do something like 243, 1.0, and that way it will keep rotating. Okay, so let's click it and let's run it again. You can see that we wait, rotates again, and there we go, it fades out. So this is a concept that you need to understand. You can add in as many different sequences as you can. Let's just go, and instead of for the player here, instead of subtracting 350, let's only subtract 250. It's a little bit better. Now let's go back to this player action, and let's add in another kind. We can go to scale, and we'll say SKAction dot scale, and we have scale by, scale to, and we have the scale x by, scale x2, scale x2, and then we have scale y. So this is kind of neat. We can have the scale, and we can say we can either grow it or shrink it. We could, then this is by a percent, so you can say, by 200%, or we can scale it to a specific size. And you can only scale, and for this one here, we could scale the X only or the Y only. It's up to you. Let's just do scale by here, and let's do maybe 2.0 by 3. And we'll add it in. We'll say scale, and you can see here. So, and by using these very easy variable names, wait, rotate, scale, wait, fade out, well, I kind of know what that sequence is, and it's not just some random variable. It's something that makes a little bit more sense. So let's take a look at this here. So we're going to rotate it, and then, we can kind of take a look at that here, and it kind of grows up, and that's actually kind of cool. And then it fades out. I think that's kind of neat. Let's rotate and then fade out again. So that's kind of neat. So there's all those different kinds of here. Now, within that here, let's add in another one. So there's lots of these different kinds of SKActions. We'll say resize. Okay, we'll make that equal to SKAction dot resize. Okay, and you can say resize by width, resize by height, to width, and then to height. So let's do the to width, and let's say make it 300 and make it pretty big, and then 1.0, and we'll add it right at the end here. We'll say that this is scale or resize. Okay, and then we'll fade out. So let's take a look at that. So you can add in as many actions as you want here. Now, one thing I wanted you to understand when you do these sequences is simplicity is always good. And with Apple, simplicity is always great. So you can see it's growing and everything's working out quite nice. And then you can rotate it again and then it resizes. And look at that. That's all really cool. So you can go ahead and you can kind of play around with this. Now there's a whole bunch of different kinds of SKActions that you can do. The last one, and the one that's kind of really important, is let's add in two more. Let's say let fade in equal to SKAction dot fade in, and we'll make it, yeah, we'll make it 3.0. So we'll fade out, and then we'll fade in, and then what we'll do is after that we'll wait, and then we'll do the most important one that you need to understand is let's say remove, make the SKAction dot remove from parent, and all that does is that it completely deletes everything. Okay, so remove from, and we can't do remove from parent there. Obviously, we need to just do remove, and it's the SKActions. All of the items within this array have to be of type SKAction. So all of these are SKActions. You can't add an integer in that sequence. Okay, so we'll take a look at this here, and it looks like the app has crashed, but that's okay. We can just close it by pushing Apple Q, save it, and then just open up another one. All right, so we'll click it here, and we'll take a look at this. It's looking good, looking good, and then it opens up and it does its crazy thing, which I think actually looks kind of neat. Fade out, fade in, and then wait, and then remove. All right, so there we go. This concludes the tutorial.